Okay, shalom. Okay, shalom. I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Brakatha Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Brakatha Rakakadash. Okay, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh Shai. Brakatha Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Brakatha Rakakadash. Okay, double honors to our apostles of great minister, our elders of GMS. Okay, peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the children of Israel. This is your Zechariah. Okay, back from the dead. Literally, sickness had me fucked up. Literally had me, excuse my language, but had me fucked up. It's the first time I've been sick in literally almost 7 years. It was a while. I mean, I may have hit colds and felt like something was coming on for like 12 hours and then it would just go away, you know. But this was a major one, man. It really kicked my ass. My head's still kind of cloudy from it, but I tried to put up a couple of things, but like I said, you just got it's a fight, man. It's a spiritual fight, Which sometimes this spiritual fight can turn physical, and and even in this physical, that we gotta continue on pushing. We gotta keep pushing on and keep pushing, and just fighting through this madness, man. Just fighting through it. Well, anyway, I'm back from the dead. you know, Lord willing, I'll be able to get this thing started to where I left off at, doing the work, laboring, this labor of love, this labor of love, enlightening those that are looking for enlightenment and so on. Well, what I have here is a quote from this goddamn devil, Thomas Jefferson, who's back here today. He's back now. This devil's back now. Back in a position of power. He's probably in Congress or the Senate but he's in some high-ranking position right now. But these devils is back, man. A lot of them, But here's the comedy. May I tremble for my country. You know what? He said a lot more. Let me find that saying. He said a lot more than just that. Grasping Reality by Brad DeLong. And I just find this so interesting to read that, that these devils and the lack of conscience that they have can honestly come up and actually say something like this, Here we go. He sends us to Thomas Jefferson. And can the liberties of a nation be thought secure when we have removed their only firm basis, a conviction in the minds of the people that these liberties are of the gift of God, that they are not to be violated but with his wrath? Indeed, I tremble for my country when I reflect that the Most High is just, God is just, and that his justice cannot sleep forever. And look at the time we're in. We're living in that actual time where God is just, and he's beginning, and this is just the beginning of the just God. He's always a just God, There is no unrighteousness with Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. There's absolutely no unrighteousness, and that's the mind. That's the thinking of 2/3, that there's unrighteousness with Yahweh, And when this devil starts to get his ass whooped, it's going to be in his mind as well, that he's an unjust God, But it says, I reflect that God is just, that his justice cannot sleep forever. Okay? That considering numbers, nature, and natural means only, a revolution of the wheel of fortune and exchange of situation is amongst possible events. An exchange of situation is among possible events. Okay, this is the end of Esau in the begin, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Okay, but in our instance here, Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to take the kingdom. He's going to use us to take the kingdom. All right. Okay, that's that exchange. Okay, that's an exchange of situations is among possible events. What's the situation here? Okay, a set of circumstances in which one finds oneself, a state of affairs. All right, a state of affairs. An exchange of situations is among possible events. Isaiah, here. It's like, oops. If I meant the prior chapter, I meant the 14th. Okay. Here we go, Isaiah 14:1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, the 12 tribes, people of Negro and Indian descent, okay? And will yet choose Israel, okay? And set them in their own land. And right now we're in the land of the stranger, you know? Okay, right now we're in a land that's not ours. Even though you can say that the Northern Kingdom was here first, but this isn't our inheritance. This isn't their inheritance as well. Okay, so we're going back to our land, the land of Israel. Okay, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them. Those Israelite foreigners, strangers, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Okay. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. Okay, going back to that now. And was I correct on that? The strangers, heathens, because it goes into how they're gonna possess them for servants and handmaids. The Israelites aren't going to be slaves in the kingdom. Even the lowest of all Israel is going to be on top, you know, running shit. All right? So I had to correct myself there. So again, an exchange of situations is among possible events that it may become probable by supernatural interference. The Almighty has no attribute which can take side with us in such a contest. Now, it was always known that he made that comment, but all the rest was always like never read or actually brought out, you know. But again, they that not be violated, but with his wrath. Indeed, I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just and that his justice cannot sleep forever. And here we are. Here we are. We're starting to begin. We're starting to witness the just power awakening. We're starting to witness the just power beginning to visit this world, and ultimately bring things back to its rightful place. Okay. Jeremiah. This is a good one here. This is a real good one here. Um, Jeremiah 30 and 50. I can't remember which scripture it was. I think it's 16 here. Why criest thou for thine affliction? Thy sorrow is incurable for the multitude of thine iniquities, because thy sins were increased. I have done these things unto thee. Okay, and just like he said, supernatural interference. It was a supernatural interference for us to go into slavery under these filthy, weak, vile devils. You know, it was a supernatural interference. It was the interference by the true living power of the Bible. Okay, that put us in this position because of our disobedience. It's not hard to understand. You know, it's not hard. It's not trivial. It's not rocket science, you know? So going back to this Jeremiah, because thy sins were increased, I have done these things unto thee. Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, the Edomites. Okay, Thomas Jefferson's an Edomite, and his people. They're Edomite. These are biblical Edomites. Okay. They devoured us, and even to this day, we're still being devoured by these devils. And all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. What did he say there again? That it may become probable by supernatural interference, the Almighty has no attribute which can take side with us in such a contest. That's beautiful, man. You know, at least he had the common sense to even know that man, they're a nation of devils, man. he had the common sense to admit that. You know, that's bugged out. That is bugged out. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. For I will restore health unto thee. And these sicknesses, these illnesses that you're hearing the brothers is catching, man, it's all because of the hands of these filthy ass devils, man. It's all because of these filthy devils, man. This is what they desire. They desire madness, and they desire death and destruction. They desire chaos. It's what so these devils have to be removed out of the way, you know, by that divine intervention. For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith the Lord. Because they called thee an outcast, saying, This is Zion, whom no man seeketh after. Beautiful scriptures here. All right, Revelation 13 and 9. He that have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. And what's funny is these niggas ain't even looking forward to this. They're not even looking forward to this. They're not even. They're contesting against it. You know? They don't desire to have slaves. They don't desire revenge on their enemies. You know, because who they identify as their enemy is someone that looks like them. You know, so in other words, somebody that looks like them, to 2/3, Yahweh Shai is going to be an enemy. He's an enemy to the 2/3. You know, the way this present world is, 2/3 loving it, man. You see how they are. What's the word am I looking for? Prospering in a way. How they're rising up in their folly and their wickedness and their and under some circumstances, law enforcement is just sitting back and allowing it. These niggas think they're in a good state now. They think they've overcome. You know, you see the videos popping up with these fools taking book bags and gym bags into stores and filling them up and just walking out, not even being challenged, man. These niggas really think they've in a good case now. You know, This is what they desire. They don't desire um, uh, the revenge on our wicked enemy. They don't desire those things. So, they have to be removed as well. They have to be removed as well, right along with these stinking ass red devils. 2/3 of these niggas and spics, they just got to go. They just got to go. They're hindering us progressing. You know? What's the rest of this say here? It is difficult to determine on the standard by which the manner of a nation may be tried, whether Catholic or particular. It is more difficult for a native to bring to that standard the manners of his own nation, familiarized to him by habit. There must doubtless be an unhappy influence on the manner of our people produced by the existence of slavery amongst us. The whole commerce between master and slave is a perpetual exercise of the most boisterous passions, the most unremitting de- despotism on the one part, and degrading submissions on the other. And he had Thomas Jefferson had children by slave women, by a slave woman, 102, a couple of 102, and his children were they were house niggas, but they were slaves. Isn't that a trip? Our children see this and learn to imitate it, for man is an imitative animal. Excuse me. This quality is the germ of all education in him. From his cradle to his grave, he is learning to do what he sees others do. If a parent could find no motive either in his philanthropy or his self love for restraining the intemperance of passion toward his slave, it should always be a sufficient one that his child is present, but generally it is not sufficient. The parent storms, the child looks on, catches the lineament of wrath, puts on the same airs in the circle of smaller slaves, gives a loose to his worst of passions, and thus nurses, educated, and daily exercised in tyranny, cannot but be stamped by it with odious particularities. Let me go here. It says here, 2 Thessalonians 1 and 6, seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. Okay? Recompense. In a good sense, to repay. In a bad sense, penalty and vengeance. See, it depends on who's the receiver and the giver here. Okay? It's in a good sense to repay. All right, requite. So it's a good sense for us that this has to take place. But in Esau's case, this is a bad sense. It's vengeance. It's vengeance. Because this devil went overboard. This devil done lost his goddamn mind. punishment afflicted or retribution exacted for an injury or wrong. Okay. Don't want to make this too long though, because you got the point here. All right. And this is what's taking place. It's a spiritual thing that's taking place, you know. We're in all common sense that all of Israel should understand this, right? All of Israel should understand this. But they can't see it. The majority of Israel cannot see it and don't want to see it. Don't want to see it. But they will at the last moment where it's going to be literally too late. You know, where right now where we have nothing but reason to be crying, literally on those highways and the byways, nothing more than enough reasons to be out there signing and crying for all these goddamn abominations that's being done in the midst thereof. You know? But it's gonna be too late, you know, when the reality of it's Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai that's doing these things to this planet, you know, when the reality of it hits in their minds, it's going to be too late, you know, for them to grasp this now, you know. So right now they're rising up as our enemy, 2/3. They're rising up as our actual enemy, man. You know, an enemy that we got. Man, we got enemies coming from all fucking sides. You know, excuse my French, but you know, sometimes just speaking on this matters where it's like mind-boggling that it still in a way pisses you the hell off where it's things is just so it's just so obvious that these niggas you know, again want to make themselves an enemy of Yahweh Shai, and then ultimately enemies, our enemies, you know, because you gotta understand they hated Yahweh Shai before they even hated us. You know, they hated him before they hated us. You know. So it says here. Where was I at? The man must be a prodigy who can retain his manner and morals underdepraved by such circumstances, and with what excretion should the statement be loaded, who permitting one half the citizens thus to trample on the rights of others, transform those into depots and these into enemies, destroy the moral of the one part and the armor patre of the other. For if a slave can have a country in this world, it must be any other in preference to that in which he is born to live and labor for another. In which he must lock up the faculties of his nature, contribute as far as depends on his individual's endeavors to the evanishment of the human race, or entail his own miserable condition on the endless generations proceeding from him. With the morals of the people, the industry also is destroyed, for in a warm climate no man will labor for himself who can make another labor for him. This is so true that the proprietors of slaves, a very small proportion indeed, are ever seen to labor. And can the liberties of a nation be thought secure when we have removed their only firm basis, a conviction in the minds of the people that these liberties are the gift of God? It's a question, a conviction in the minds of the people that these liberties are of the gift of God. And they are, but with his, the gift that they received, they abused it in their, and still to this day, abusing it. And they're intent on stepping it up to a whole different level by, the hot thing that's the hot talk right now of the MOTB, this which coming in December, this new cashless currency, this new digital currency. Man, this is a beautiful what's taking place, man. Prophecies is taking place. They are not to be violated, but with his wrath. Indeed, I tremble for my country when reflect that the Most High is just, that his justice cannot sleep forever, that considering numbers, nature, and natural means only, a revolution of the wheel of fortune, an exchange of situation is amongst possible events, that it may become probable by supernatural interference. The Almighty has no attributes which can take side with us in such a contest. This is some hot reading here. Anyway, till next time, Shalom.